everybody, my name is Gildart, and we now have a demo for Dynasty Warriors Origins on our hands. This demo can be played on PS5, Xbox Series, and Steam, but I'm playing it on PS5. Now, I will admit it has taken me a while to get this video out because I did get hit with a pretty bad migraine last week, and this is the second time I've recorded this because the first time I recorded it, it got corrupted mid-editing! But we're here now, so everything's fine. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fill a lot of time just talking about this demo. I mean, it's only one stage. It's not like I could replay this stage over and over and over, right? Whoops! Yeah, I wasn't planning to stream for almost 4 hours when this came out on November 22nd, but I sure did! Well, I guess we should take a look at this demo and what it has to offer, shall we? Starting the demo off, we get to see what the cutscenes will be like. I honestly didn't realize that this was pre-rendered. That was until I saw the lip flaps for Yuan Shao's first line.
Lord Wang Kuang, welcome. No sight could have lifted my heart more.
Your words honor me.
Yeah, for some reason, they chose not to try to match the lip flaps during the pre-rendered cutscenes. But once we get into the in-game events, the lip flaps do a much better job of matching what's being said. I believe this is actually being changed for each language, which is nice to see them doing again. But before we go too far away from the initial cutscene, let's talk about the voices. I'm not the biggest fan of this Yuan Shao. In the past, we've seen him be this comical, full of himself royal who values name over merit. Ever since Dynasty Warriors 6, he's been more of a comic relief character. You know, someone to point and laugh at. Yoshimoto had a similar vibe and was made a beast in Samurai Warriors 5. It almost feels like they're trying to do that here with Yuan Shao, but they didn't change his design to separate the characteristics. At least with Yoshimoto, he went to the gym a little bit. I feel like they could have given him more of a beard instead of the mustache, and that would have been enough for us to say, oh, so he's like his Dynasty Warriors 3 through 5 iteration where he's just an overconfident noble and not just an arrogant elitist. The first line of the cutscene is delivered in a way that leaves a bit to be desired. Even though you can tell, there's more talent given in that one line than practically every line spoken in Dynasty Warriors 9.
I, Wang Kuang, governor of Henei, cede power to Lord Yuan Shao in order to defeat Dong Zhou.
Oh yeah, Dong Zhou, my favorite accurate representation of the ugly bastard tag. Then we have Yuan Shao over here with his lips acting like my hair every time I wear a hat, doing whatever the hell they want. Though again, you can tell that this cast is a bit more professional compared to the last. But when the lip flaps don't look like they match, it can give this feeling that it's not as professional as a production. Like, these are pre-rendered cutscenes, they're not in-game. So, it's basically a movie file. You can't pre-program the lips to match the basic sounds of the line being read. But in past games, they changed the wording of the line slightly to more closely match the flaps. So let's make this clear. This is not an acting issue. It's not a directing issue. It's a writing or localizing issue. But I do have to admit that the rest of the cutscene plays out really well. Some may dislike this though. The overall emotion of the delivery is serious. It's more played down than the usual played up feeling that the series was known for up until Dynasty Warriors 8. After this cutscene, we're taken to a conversation between our nameless hero and Cao Cao. Here we see the lip flaps matching much better. And as sad as I am that many of the voices have been changed, Brent Mukai does a pretty good job as a young Cao Cao. And maybe it's easier for me because he's younger and doesn't have his iconic facial hair, but I am cool with this iteration. There are a couple of dialogue choices you can make for responses here, but nothing that really changes anything worthwhile. Cao Cao just says a different line depending on your choice. We're also introduced to our troops. Now the lines from the troops aren't delivered as well as Brent's Cao Cao, but it's not so bad that it feels out of place. Next, we're taken to the War Council where we get a bit of a breakdown of what to expect from the upcoming battle. This includes some banter from the various characters. Unfortunately, this part isn't fully voiced and we only get some single words or grunts and moans.
Right.
Over here.
No.
This kind of reminds me of the pre-battle stuff in Samurai Warriors 3, but done in a way that feels more like a moment in the story. Now that I've played this stage multiple times, I can see how this War Council discussion could be very useful, and I'll explain that later, but this is really well done. Once the conversation is over, we get a familiar pre-battle menu where we can select our equipment and our companion. For my first time, I went in with the basic sword and Xiaohou as my companion. Then for the second time, I did the Padao and Sun Shang, then the wheels and Guan Yu, and for the fourth playthrough to try out the Crescent Blade, I went completely solo, which is an interesting option that I'll talk a little bit more about later. Look, I know I'm leaving a lot up in the air, but trust me, this is gonna make sense. Once I got into the battlefield, it was so invigorating to rush towards the first base with my army. Seeing so many troops rush the enemy along with me gave me a feeling that no other Musou game had before. Yes, the classic games made you feel like a warrior among your army, while more modern Musou titles made you feel like a god among your army. But this makes you feel like a member of the army, like you're all equal. You all run at the same pace with the same urgency. It just feels so goddamn good! Fighting troops still gives you that usual 1 versus 1000 gameplay feel. Even though troops do take a bit more to kill than in games like 8 and 9, they still go down without much of a hassle. Now, even though they don't put up much of a fight for you, they will cause some trouble for your allies, so you do have to watch for them. Across the maps, there are diamonds with letters in them. These are where all of the fights are currently happening between officers. If the diamond is blue, that means that your allies are winning that fight. If it's red, you'll say the letter in the diamond. Fuck! Essentially what I'm trying to say is that although troops don't often get in your way, they can still cause enough of a problem for you to have some concerns if you find your commander alone with too many. They can also whittle down your health when you're trying to focus on enemy officers, which are the ones that pose an even greater threat to you and your allies. You can lock on to enemy officers just like in any other modern Warriors game. You can actually set this game to automatically lock onto officers when you attack them, which I personally found to be a very handy setting. But this is where a lot of people seem to be torn. On one hand, the combat against officers is way more involved and challenging. First of all, we all know morale is back. The higher the enemy morale, the stronger they are and the weaker your allies are. The higher your ally morale, the opposite happens. But every officer also has courage that you need to worry about. This is indicated by an arrow next to their name. If the arrow is pointing up, they'll be more aggressive. If it's pointing down, they'll be more defensive. On top of that, now enemy officers have attacks that cannot be blocked or will attack through your block. Now, this isn't something that's overly new for Dynasty Warriors, but it is new for generics to have access to this. How do you deal with these sort of attacks when every single generic has access to them? By dodging and parrying. My two most favorite combat mechanics. Now, obviously, the way that you dodge or parry properly is by timing the button press, which I am really good at timing those. These mechanics are the big thing that people seem to be debating. Should these elements from games like Wolong, Nioh, and Dark Souls be implemented in a game like Dynasty Warriors? My thought on that is that yes. Oh my god, yes! This is something I think brings a lot more thought to the combat of a Warriors game. It's not just the dodging and parrying that's been added to the game either. We have some special moves similar to what we've seen in Pirate Warriors 4 and Fate Extella Link. These are way more useful than just a big move with a cooldown. Some of them inflict specific status ailments on enemies, some leave them in specific states, while others can be used to counter certain moves. Every weapon has different special attacks, but there's also a handful of moves that can be used with any weapon. Speaking of weapons, though there are only 4 weapons in this demo, each weapon plays vastly different from each other. The basic sword is exactly what you'd expect from a Warriors game with some small twists. First of all, your C1 can not only be charged, but it can also be a 2-hit combo. Dodging while holding a direction and pressing triangle is also a different attack. There is a combo menu where you can see it all, but once we start exploring the other weapons, now that is where it gets a little funky. Xiaohun's Podao has two separate combos with square and triangle not really interacting with each other, though you can switch between the buttons without halting combat. All of the triangle attacks with the Podao can be charged in order to deliver a stronger attack than usual. I saw someone on the Discord say that Guan Yu's Crescent Blade is like an evolution on Dynasty Warriors 6's Renbu system, and I honestly have to agree, and I mean that in the best way possible. As you attack, you gain levels, which increase your charge attack range and damage. Similar to the Podao, you can freely move between square and triangle combos seamlessly. Listen, I'm glad that I'm already married because this combat system is way too fucking smooth for me to have to compete with. And then we have Sun Shang's wheels, which have to be the most devastating weapon in this demo. What's funny is that the wheels probably have the smallest combo set of all the weapons, but it feels the most versatile. You throw the wheels down with various attacks. The wheels sit there dealing damage until you walk towards them or a certain amount of time runs out. If you quote-unquote recover the wheels at the same time as executing certain attacks, that attack will be upgraded to deal more damage. With everything that we get in this demo, I cannot wait to see what the other weapons are going to be like. Now, getting back to the demo itself, I found my allies losing morale very quickly during the first couple of playthroughs on normal difficulty. It was surprising to see, even though I was surviving and killing loads of enemies. I also thought that with this many enemies on screen that I'd have a higher KO count, but I guess with the troops taking a bit more to kill, that's just not happening. I do imagine though that in the full game we'll be able to max out our character and really wreak some havoc on the battlefield. As your allied forces slowly push forward, you'll find yourself face to face with Sishui Gate, guarded by Huashong and Li Jue. Both of these officers can challenge you to a duel, which is so refreshing to see its return. In Origins, you'll see the prompt to press L1 and R1 when you're being challenged to a duel. This is done in a way that mixes the duels from both Dynasty Warriors 4 and 6. When you accept the duel, the screen fades to black. Then suddenly, all of your allies and enemies have made a circle and you're standing in the middle of it with whoever challenged you. Now, you may be thinking, this is unfair for them to be trapped in here with you, but they will put up a fight. In fact, it may be best to get used to the timing of parrying and perfect dodging so you can take advantage of those to take them out. You do have some items equipped if you're struggling and you can consume them by pressing up on the D-pad. One of these items is a meat bun, which you can hold up to 5 in your inventory. There is also a setting you can turn on and off for automatically using meat buns when you pick them up, and any extra will be put into your inventory for later. I really like this because it gives it that classic feel. And that's really important because you're not going to find too many items dropped by enemies in this game. Really, I only saw meat buns and another item that restores your bravery, which is what all of your arts cost. Arts are equipped before the battle and are these special attacks that can be mapped to each of the face buttons when you hold R1. You can also equip different tactics to square, triangle, and circle for when you hold L2. This is how you can command your troops to fire a volley of arrows or charge and attack the enemies ahead. On my first playthrough of the demo, I was saying to myself, I wonder if they'll make Lu Bu appear after you take out Huashong and Li Jue. When I did, I just got the victory screen and theme. I was a little disappointed, but only a little. That was until...
I'll show you how much better I am!
Oh, fuck. The way they just threw this out there in the demo was so well done. Seriously, a round of applause for this execution because Lu Bu definitely executed me. Like, holy shit, this guy is tough. It took me a while to beat him on easy. Now that I do have a bit more knowledge about the mechanics at play, I can pretty reliably beat him on easy and a little less reliably on normal. God forbid I attempt this on hard. Or I guess I should call it Historian, Wayfarer, and Hero since those are the difficulties in this game. I wonder if there will be an unlockable Chaos difficulty equivalent once you finish a route with all 3 dynasties. Either way, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that the feel of the classic games has been brought into the modern world. Troops pose way more of a threat. Generic officers are far from pushovers. And Lu Bu will break you faster than you can break Kit Kat while you're taking a 15 from your minimum wage job, I tell you what. But that isn't even the end of it. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet is the music. And that's because I need to take a whole fucking section of this video just to talk about the music. First of all, we get this beautiful rendition of Wall of Fate, the Hulao Gate theme from Dynasty Warriors 4. The song just chugs along in all the right ways. The main melody is the same as we'd expect with some additional harmonies. But then we have this counter rhythm part with these descending chords that just complement the whole song. Then we have this chaotic chromatic arpeggio that's very reminiscent of the beginning of a Pokemon battle theme. All this going on while the bass and drums push us forward. But then if you pause, the percussion is taken out of the mix, which is a really cool thing to take away from Hyrule Warriors. All in all, a great rendition of Wall of Fate. But if you thought that's where my nerding out over the music ends, just know this. I have impeccable stamina. As I was playing this live on stream, we encountered something. While playing along with Sun Shengsheng, I was able to trigger a charge with Sun Jian as opposed to Yuan Shao. This was so cool, but it wasn't until I was playing alongside Guan Yu and then I did the charge with Liu Bei. But then it got me thinking, what if I got the charge from all three directions? So after I got all three charges set up, I noticed the music change. Now, they do kind of hint that you should try to keep all three commanders alive during the War Council by showing you where each one is pushing their army. This is why I didn't talk about it too much earlier. You may want to pay attention to what people are saying during those War Councils. On top of this incredible new version of Wall of Fate, we get this swell of strings and bass that begin to overtake the distorted guitars, but never fully drown them out. They work in tandem with the other instruments to give this incredibly epic rendition of one of my favorite Hulao Gate themes in the entire franchise. I was literally in awe when this happened.
The fucking horns? What? The strings? Holy fuck. Guys, if this is what they're gonna do with all of the remixes, this may just be the best Muso soundtrack.
When the main melody comes in, we get these staccato string parts and an absolutely beautiful counter melody from the brass, complete with stings right on the beat. It's just so well done that I don't know what I'm going to do when I actually play through the full game and I hear more of these orchestral rock renditions of my favorite songs. I mean, come on! There's only a finite supply of pants in this world, you know? And with that, I think I've covered pretty well everything I want to cover with this demo. I know there are more mechanics, and I didn't really talk about the companions and character switching, but I'm gonna leave that for the full review, whenever that happens. I do want to say, though, that I have seen the data mined Lu Bu gameplay, and I absolutely called it. Lu Bu has to be a playable companion alongside Diao Chan. I'm forecasting this for a few reasons. First of all, even though characters like Cao Cao, Liu Bei, the Sun family, Yuan Shao, and so on all got redesigned outfits, we do not have any character renders like we've had in previous games. The only renders that we've seen are the companions, and who's alongside them? Lu Bu and Diao Chan. Even in this poster with the main character, we get all 9 companions, as well as Lu Bu and Diao Chan. The second tip towards this being true are the costumes that you get with the Treasure Box Edition that are alternate colors for the hero that match each faction you can side with, and would you look at that? A purple outfit. Maybe they put this in because there will be a story path for Dongzhuo's side. And the last tip off is that you can go in solo for this stage. I thought that was a little weird at first, but thinking about it, this is probably how you side with Dongzhuo or Lu Bu. I don't know for sure, this is all speculation, but what I do know is this. I am so fucking hyped for this game. I may still have some concerns around replayability and variety, but what I experienced here, playing the same stage for hours, I don't think I'm going to have much of an issue replaying this game. While it is disappointing to see the game focus on Tomohiko Sho's OC, do not steal, it is refreshing to see the team take the series in a new direction without losing sight of what makes a Warriors game fun. I've seen many people shitting on this game and the people who are enjoying it. That's so disheartening. I know we all want to see ports and remasters of the older games, but you can't run a business without trying to evolve with the times. I mean, we never would have got Dynasty Warriors in the first place if Koei and Omega Force didn't try to evolve the hack and slash genre from 2D to 3D. So to say that this is the wrong step for the franchise without having the full game on our hands is extremely short-sighted. That being said, I can completely understand if someone is being respectful and just honestly doesn't see something that they're going to enjoy in this game. It is a different direction than we're used to with this franchise, so I imagine a lot of people will be on the fence until reviews come out, and that is completely fine as well. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm getting a little tired of the toxicity and entitlement we see growing within this community. We're starting to look like old school Overwatch fans, and we don't even got the porn to make it good. I have always said that the Musou franchise is such an interesting IP because you have so many games, from Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Gundam, One Piece, Nintendo, and all the other collabs, that every game is going to have someone who says, that's my favorite. And to me, that is just so cool. Even if we share favorites, it can be for a different reason. And just because Dynasty Warriors Origins is taking the series in a very different direction, it does not take away the experiences and the love that we have for the older titles. It doesn't mean we'll never see entries with a more classic design. It just means there's the potential we'll have more people to support this franchise. In the end, Dynasty Warriors can't die if we keep growing. Now, I'm never going to truly judge your choice in favorites and least favorites, but we need to be more constructive when we're being critical of the series that we love. Most of us keep asking for a remaster, remake, or even just a port, but nobody wants to do something that they're being demanded to do and shamed for not doing it. Be kind to each other. Just because someone says that their favorite game is Dynasty Warriors 6, we shouldn't treat them poorly. It was probably their only Warriors game, and now they've developed Stockholm Syndrome. I am just kidding about that. I may tease when someone says that their favorite game is 6 or 9, but I'll never treat someone like they're the plague because of it. There may be some great Musou games out there, and some that are middle of the road. There are a lot of good Musou games that are just bogged down by poorly executed decisions and experiments that just didn't work out. But in the end, there is no such thing as a straight-up bad Musou game. Except Dynasty Warriors DS, that one was really bad. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching my thoughts on the Dynasty Warriors Origins video and my overall thoughts as we lead into the launch month. I am hoping to get 3 more videos out before the end of the year, so if you enjoyed this, give it a like and subscribe for more. How excited are you for this game? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to help support this channel and what I do here, you can join the Guild, just like these awesome people that you're seeing on screen right now. You can join them at the end of every single video for just $1 a month over on Patreon and YouTube memberships, or you can donate in a one-time fashion and join the volunteer unit over on Coffee. A special shout out to my Guild Generals Beggy Beg Beg and Loose for supporting this channel at the top tier. There are other rewards and other tiers as well, so check out the links that you see on screen, and I will see you all down in the comments.